This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, we got a little bit of feedback there. Okay, well, we'll start now. Well, hello, ladies, and thank you so much for joining me for this to talk about Juneteenth and the big celebration and commemoration for the city of Louisville. Let's talk about it's the Juneteenth Jubilee celebration. First of all, tell me each of your all's role in this, because you've both been part of it now for more than 1 year. And let's start with you, Councilwoman.
Well, I'm excited to be a part of it, and I was appointed on the commission, and it was an idea really born out of Wanda Mitchell-Smith's head. It's, of course, a celebration that has been around for years, but in Louisville, Kentucky, it had not actually been celebrated as a community-wide function. And so now it's an opportunity for everybody to understand what it really is and why it is. And to be a part of something new and exciting is always something I want to, kind of involve myself in. And so my role now was to create an ordinance that put it permanently in the city as one of the commissions and boards. And I was excited about the opportunity to do that. And now we can look forward to every year this being a theme in Louisville.
So it is official. And Wanda, what came to you? I mean, we've seen other cities doing this. It's something that an oldest known holiday commemorating the final communication of the abolition of slavery in the US, June 19th. What was it that you said Louisville needs to be more involved in this?
Rachel, I will say that, looking at our history and who we are, we want to, for me, it was more of a spiritual moment, in time that we need to really do something about this. We need to make sure that history is told and that our children will know the history. It's so very important that we educate. It's wonderful to be able to celebrate, but it's also greater to educate. And so this is all a part of that processes. And when I began to talk about it and asked Mayor Fisher, whom I serve in his administration, what are your feelings about it? And it was just so very easy for him and very simple. He said, let's do it. Why aren't we doing it? And so then I took it one step further with an executive order. We did the executive order first last February of 2021. And then this year, because Councilwoman McCraney was so very gracious to sponsor it for us, as a part of the history, we don't want that to go away. So we needed to make sure that that executive order was codified in legislation so that it would be in existence from now until, and that's exactly what she did, we did, and we worked together to be able to get it done. And so we got one last thing that we want to do with it as we move forward to be able to make sure that things are put in writing and that it actually does become a finality of the history part for Louisville, Kentucky. But we need to stand up and we need to say that we are who we are and be proud of that. But everyone needs to know the history, not just African Americans or minorities. Everyone needs to know the history, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Right. And that communication, we should say, was in 1865. So Louisville in 2020, it became an official holiday for Louisville Metro government. 2021, the 16-member Juneteenth Jubilee Celebration Commission that Councilwoman McCraney talked about. This year now, you've expanded it even more. But let's talk about the theme, Our Story, America's Glory. Who wants to address that, how that theme came about, and what you hope resonates with people with it?
I will yield to Councilwoman first, and then I'll dovetail on behind her.
Well, if you understand the history of America, and people want to divide it like it's white history, it's Native American history, it's Black history. The truth of the matter is all of this together is our story. It's all our story. And so the theme depicts the fact that this is not one section of our community that's celebrating this news. And we wanted everybody to be a part of it and to feel like they're a part of it. So the theme depicts that. But I want to talk further later on about what this celebration really is, because a lot of people still don't understand what Juneteenth is. But Wanda, if you would talk more about how the theme came about, then we could get into the actual Juneteenth celebration itself.
Thank you so much. So as we were talking, we, the commissioners, were talking in terms of what is going to really resound in our community to be able for everybody to be able to understand where we're going with the entire process. As Councilwoman has already indicated, it's not, this is all a part of American history, and we are telling our story for the history moments. And it's America's glory because we are all in America together. So we want to make sure that that messaging is coming across, that, our state, I believe it's our state, united we stand, divided we fall, and everything. We cannot do anything divided. We must be able to stand together. And so our story is everyone's story, and we want to have that platform on. And America will certainly get the glory nationwide. And I think the president has said that, by making it a holiday. And now we see the state following suit. And so we've got more. But Rachel, I wanted to go back and touch on something that you said in referencing to Metro government having the day off. It's a holiday for Metro government. Yes, it is. Right now it is, and it came through an executive order. So the caveat that we're looking to continue to do is to codify again in legislation for Metro employees to be able to have that day off, because as we exit, this administration exit, another administration can come in, and we know that with an executive order, you do it with the stroke of a pen, and it can be eradicated with the stroke of a pen. But we understand that when you put it in legislation, it takes a greater processes to try to get rid of that. So we're going to continue on. And that's another little icing on the cake, as we say. We're wanting to maybe have this done by August the 8th, because August the 8th in the Commonwealth of Kentucky is when Kentucky succeeded for the Union. And so that date is the significant date for us in Kentucky. That was our actual Juneteenth moment in Kentucky. So we want to continue this educational opportunity and moment and not let it just die down after June 19th. No, it's ongoing for the entire rest of the year. So we have an entire, 6 months to continue our programming with all of that.
And Councilwoman, you pick up with that on what you really hope is the commemoration here.
Well, I want everybody to understand, now that we're in this whole nation of fighting back history or debating whether or not people should learn of history, it is so funny to me that you would not want everybody to understand American history. And so with Juneteenth, I find it kind of ironic that we're celebrating Juneteenth anyway, because it's not really, and people don't know this, it's just not really a celebration that happened for every state. Just imagine you're in Texas and somebody rides along in your community and they're seeing that you're a slave and you're going about your daily chores, and they're saying, hey, wait a minute, don't you all know that you've been freed?
Right.
And they was like, no, didn't know that. So that was their news in Texas when everybody else around them had gotten the news. And so for us to celebrate their moment, it just shows you that we can celebrate the goodness of things that happen in our nation. And it's, so to take that and to say, hey, look, this happened in America. And for us to celebrate it shows you the glory that we can all shine on America, because it happened here, but we can all embrace the fact that it was a part of our history. And so let's look at it as a part of our national history a moment in time where we just stop the clock for a day. Juneteenth, that's June 19th, the day they found that information, and celebrate for their celebration and for the news that they got, and to keep it moving along through state to state so that everybody can understand that we should all be happy, that we are evolving as a nation. And that's why I want people to embrace this and understand its true meaning. Because, you just don't have to have something happen to you to celebrate. You can celebrate for everyone. And that's what I think this is all about.
Well, let's talk about the fact, because it goes from several days, from the 11th through the 19th, educational, creative. You've got a gala for the first time, I believe, at the Ali Center. You've got church services. And the words you all are using, unity, diversity, equity, inclusion, wanting everyone to feel that. We have been a city divided at times, and certainly Breonna Taylor, the killing of Breonna Taylor played into that. Also, part of this commemoration will be a commemoration of her as well, correct? Does somebody want to talk about that?
Well, with the Race for Justice by the Future Ancestors, it's going to be at the Sports Center. It gives us the opportunity to again celebrate this young lady's life and her significance and the value that we cherish. It's an unfortunate, but it is what it is, and we're going to celebrate her as well. And remember that every step of the way, for everything, that we've got things that we have to be able to look back over and ponder on and say, we're not going to go back there again. We're going to move forward with that. So with her life, we don't want that name to ever go away. We don't want the George Floyd's and the Breonna Taylor's name to ever be erased, because it did happen, and it happened in our lifetimes, right? So we want to be able to say to our future generations, this is what happened in this time and in this day. And it goes back to the educational principles as well, Rachel, as we continue to talk.
But you have so many different activities. So you're hoping that everybody will find something in this, right, Councilwoman?
Yes. And, as we continue as a commission and we brainstorm together all of the opportunities that this week could bring, you're going to see it evolve and grow. If you think about, and this is, I'm sure, Wanda's hope, and it certainly is mine as well, that when you think of Juneteenth, you should equate it to the Derby Festival week. Look forward to it. Know that certain things are going to happen that will happen every year. We'll figure out what our signature program is. And that education piece is the piece that I want everybody to grab a hold of and learn of each other so that we can unify. Because I think we're going to be talking about Breonna Taylor's murder for years to come. And it's good to talk about it. And that's why it's important for us to even talk about history, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's because you don't want to repeat the ugly parts of history. We do want to move forward. And so I'm just excited to know that there's a commission in place, and that each year there will be a lot of different activities that are created for the entire community to take a part of. And so as we evolve and we get more commissioners on board, or we get these creative juices flowing, I think the community will embrace that might be something new, but it's going to be something permanent in our community that we can be proud of.
Let me ask one quick question about a criticism with the banners that were up in downtown. What would you all like to say about that? They're just questioning a little bit of it. Wanda, I know you had something that you would want to say about that.
Sure. And so the banners downtown, as Councilwoman has said, we wanted to elevate the entire Juneteenth activities to the level that we see the Derby Festival is at this year, in historic times. But I would love for everybody to go back and look at the true history on Derby. It would be very interesting read, right? But with that being said, that banner was created, the logo that we used last year was voted on and decided on by the commissioners. And it was created and developed by a Black female vendor with the city, you know, and everything. And so we were just very excited that she presented, and what she presented was amenable to all of the commissioners, and to have it elevated this year so that, like the Derby banners, the Juneteenth banners went up as well.
What would you all like the takeaway to be with residents? And we'll end it there. What are you hoping at the end of the week happens with residents who might attend some of these things?
Well, I want everybody to just recognize that there is a Juneteenth and that it's been around for years, that we're just now picking up on the celebration part, and that it is a community-wide celebration for us to recognize a moment in history, and that it is going to be inclusive where everybody has something that they can go to and take away from and feel a part of that history. That's what I'm hopeful for.
And Wanda, the final word?
And to Councilwoman's hopes are, I have some of the same, is that this is just the beginning, and we have so much to grow to. And that's what we want for Juneteenth. It's the educational moments, but we want to grow into it. And I would just encourage everyone to go out and to enjoy the community in its fullness. There's going to be so many activities to go on, from 4th Street Live to River City Drum Corps at Shawnee Park, to even the Belle of Louisville being active, and with Hannah Drake's organization, and just so many others. And we're just very thankful that the community is on fire about Juneteenth, and so are we.
Thank you, ladies, very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much
Rachel.
for having us.